see the guys out front because these two had disappeared up the road. So Paul Jordan was just riding a nice lonely race, comfortably in third place, before he became the winner under the checkered flag.
So I think we've got a lap from Peter Hickman to have a look at now, just to show everyone what it's like on a superbike around here, and it's going to be fast and furious. Perfect conditions, couldn't be better.
Really important to get it off the line, reasonably successful, to not end up getting mired by half a dozen bikes down into the York corner by the time you get down there. It's one of those kind of corners that you can't just go at it like a bull at a gate, because if you run wide you are going to be in massive trouble in this braking area.
And you've got to think about your tyres are not fully up to temperature at this point. They're not really out. This Michael Dunlop just in front. We've just gone on Peter Hickman, just gone a bit wide, managed to cut it back, and that's okay. So I think that's Dunlop and Harrison up in front of us, and it's a climb up the hill here where you just cannot use all the horsepower.
I was going to say, I saw a wheel to the left, and there it was. The Honda parks itself at the roundabout, and really Hickman lost a place there because of the mess he made of it at York. But when you've got a full tank of fuel as well, which for a six-lap race,
you need every drop. Yep, this is the run down. We'll have another little listen, shall we, as we go through station corner?
I think he had a little roll on the way in there, just to steady the front up, and on the opening lap you really need to do that, just to get that stability, of course.
And not much stability going on, as we can see from the camera shaking at the moment. Which side are you going, left or right? You wouldn't have a clue where you can find a gap. And it is the right-hand side, but this road is extremely narrow. And what we forget to see, and you can't see quite as well on the camera, is kinked left and right in the places. And
if someone's trying to slipstream underneath you or over the top of you, you might be taking up their road at any particular time, and no one wants to roll out of it. If you roll out the throttle just there, you are going backwards.
Yeah, well,
maybe into the face of somebody else.
If you roll out, it's like putting the brakes on at that speed.
It really is. So as you can see, it's 2024, because we had the red hard shoulder over the link road onto the Ballysally roundabout. This flick right, I always used to enjoy this, even a little bit sideways on the old bikes. Out here as the camber drops away from you. Back then, it's all been resurfaced now. So it's a little different now. But still, I'm surprised we haven't had a lap record yet. But with track temperature at 32.5 degrees, as it is now, we might find that in this final race, the lap record is blown out the window.
It is, but Michael Dunlop, I think, got within 1 second of the outright lap record. So that headwind isn't helping. It's the place where you've got more, but you're fastest for longer.
The wind has definitely subsided a little bit. It's not quite as fierce down towards University now as it perhaps was throughout the day today. So, and you tend to get a stiller air in the evening, don't you, as we get towards the evening when the sun goes down, just naturally.
The only lap record that's gone so far up this week is the Super Sport, went to Michael Dunlop.
On the rather fast Ducati.
Yeah, that was on
Thursday. Didn't look as fast the second Super Sport race,
it didn't, I have to say. No, it didn't seem to have that booster button.
Answers on a postcard, please. Past Liddell, I'll cut back through to the start and finish line. Down into Port Rush, we pour with Peter Hickman into Metropole. He doesn't seem to care if he's running over the manhole covers nowadays. They're a lot grippier with the old white grippy paint on them.
Yes, they are.
And they're levelled off as well. They shim them out. We've said it before, but if you're new to this, I'll say it again. Church Corner, up under the railway bridge. You can catch a train into Belfast if you want to, from Port Rush.
There's a number of places where you can't miss the manhole covers. At certain times you can, but on this section here, they're pretty much right in the way of you, but it doesn't seem to upset the bikes at all. Now, this is the place where the run down to the Beck McLean chicane, where we often see a lot of passing. We've seen some action there this weekend. There's more to be seen, I'm sure, but it's the place where you just manage to squeeze up the inside. If you've got it planned right, this is your point of doing it.
It's a good corner, the way it works for braking. It's just in the right place for an extra passing place. Of course, if it wasn't there, you wouldn't have another passing place, and you'd have to force it underneath somebody just here as you come through to drop down to the start and finish area. Peter Hickman then has taken you on an onboard ride from last year across the line. Let's go back down to Parc Fermé then and rejoin Stephen.
Yes, this is the number 6 machine, the BMW Superbike belonging to Michael Dunlop. Lee, it's done the business twice with him on board. Can he make it 3?
I'm not going to add to the controversy, but yeah, I'm going to say the chances are very, very strong with what happened. And I know that we're talking about the incident, the chicane, but the sheer pace, the lap times that Michael was putting in, I think he was doing 4:19s. That is really, really fast. So maybe even 4:17. Sorry, correct me, I'm wrong. But yeah, I believe the pace is in the bike, but will the tyre hang on for 6 laps? And that is the big question, because after the first race, it was looking pretty chunky.
Yeah, and as far as I'm told, there has been no official protest to that result in the Superbike race. And if there's no protest, then I don't think the stewards have anything to review. That remains to be seen. That's my understanding at the moment. But we can set all that aside and look forward to what is going to be a thrilling finale to the Northwest 200. And it's been good so far.
Yeah, the tension down here on the grid, there's probably 3, 4, even 5 riders with a big point to prove. Obviously, we've got Davey and Pete that really want to win that race from what happened earlier. Dean Horrison has had more second places than I think anyone I've ever met at the Northwest 200. Michael's full of confidence. He wants to win races again, so the push is on. Alistair Seeley's in the mix on the Superstock bike. The list goes on and on.
Let's go and see if we can get a quick word with Alistair Seeley, if we can. I can just squeeze in past you, if that's okay. Alistair, you're live across the BBC.
No swearing.
How do you feel about the last race of the day?
Yes, it's last race of the day. It's been a long day. Weather's been good, bit blustery and stormy, but same for everybody. We have actually changed the clutch. We found in the Superstock race that the clutch was slipping on us, so obviously that wouldn't have helped for top speed there or drive off the corners. So new clutch in it, and then just do what we done earlier in that Superbike race. Try not to run on. Everybody seems to be having a few issues running on with a strong wind, so try and keep everything clean, hit all our marks, and then just hang in there to the end.
Be nice to get one more win to take you to 30. Final race of the day, save the best to last in the big one.
Yeah, that would be obviously the icing on the cake. Hasn't been a bad day for us, you know. We obviously got the little Kawasaki working better in that race. We were dicing for 4th, you know, ended up finishing 6th. So for us coming with that bike here, that was more or less like a victory for us. We're all very happy. So just a pity that clutch went in that Superstock race, and new one in now, so no excuses. Finish it off with a good result, and then we'll head home, get a Chinkies tonight.
Yeah, you're going to go for a nice Chinese meal tonight. Very, very good. How important is the start here?
Yeah, we actually haven't been launching too well on the Superstock bike, but David Allingham, he gave me a slap in the wrist and says, you're not really activating the launch control, so he's plugged her in. He's plugged her in and says, just rev the dung out of her. So with a new clutch, I can afford to rev the dung out of her. So if you hear a thing banging off a limiter here, you'll know it's mine.
David, is that the technical term, is it?
That's the technical term, yeah. No, you know what, it's Alistair's jumping between bikes, so it's not easy. I've never done it before, so yeah. But obviously with me racing the Superstock bike, you just have to commit to it, and hopefully so you can get a good launch off the line.
Have a good race. Thank you.
Well, there's certainly a few terminologies to deal with as far as this man is concerned. Alistair Seeley keeping us amused with various things.
What he's having for his tea tonight.
Yeah, I think he was making an order there.
Yeah, I hope he don't get it back to front and has a dung for tonight.
Peter Hickman then with a smile back on his face, which is good. Superbike time coming up very soon. This is the feature race. This is the Northwest 200. It's the main race of the day. The Miro Hotel and Spa Superbike race. And everybody wants to win this one. This is the race that counts. This is the one with the big trophy. This is the one that...
more prize money,
I'll tell you what, you can see some of the wounds when you haven't got a back protector on. That's what you get if you're not careful as well. It's the back protectors nowadays are so superb when they protect you from sliding up the road. And I don't know about you, but I've got plenty of burn marks all over me from sliding up the road unprotected from the 1980s. Hang on a minute, Philip McCallan has just come stumbling in the commentary box, laden with food and drink. You know that's not true, he said. Oh dear. Jenny Timoth has been with us throughout that. It's going to be Philip who joins us for this final race of the day. Got plenty of time, Phil, so
yeah,
finish your
thank
supper.
you, Jenny, for coming up here and assisting with us.
As ever.
Expert information. I guess you're going back to the grid. You get to see the last race down from the grid then. We'll see you a little bit later on, and should we order a... No, we better not.
No, and don't even say it. So, Steve Parrish alongside Keith Ewan here. Let's go down then, because Lee is now with Hutchie down there. Ian Hutchinson up on the podium, and I tell you what, the other day brought a tear to my eye, and they're usually solid.
A half dress. Wants to put that on camera or not, but yeah, he's just figuring out getting his leathers on. You can see his little whoop here on his arm, so that's checking all his heart rate monitoring system and all them things. But yeah, he's just getting dressed, so I don't really know if he wants to be showing that live on television, but he's got no real option here with the BBC. But yeah, he's had a really good run so far this week, and I honestly wouldn't bet against him going really strong in this last Superbike race. This BMW is more than capable of being at least on the podium, so it'd be interesting to see how Ian gets on.
And when he was on the podium, those emotional scenes the other night, Lee, I mean, it's been a remarkable comeback for Ian Hutchinson.
Yeah, obviously we heard from Michael Sweeney there in the supertwin podium, and he'd had an off here some years ago when I did, but what this man has been through is second to none, and come back numerous times. So we're going to maybe have a quick chat with Ian. He's just clean, he's letting on, he's cleaning his bike here. But how are we feeling for this last race?
Yeah, it's just been a little bit of something gone wrong with the ECU overnight with I don't know, I had to upload something, and it's for a Superbike or something, I don't know, it's just not the bike I had on Thursday, so we've gone back to what we had, but something's amiss.
Yeah, well, you showed your pace as a rider when the bike was right on Thursday, and these things happen with new models and changes happen, but everybody, you have to take that confidence into going to the Isle of Man TT and feel positive going forward.
Yeah, I feel to be riding good, obviously. I'd like to have got away with him then, but it still wouldn't have been right anyway because I can't get it stopped anymore. So it went, Michael closed me off the line into the curb, and then it went on to pit lane limiter as well, so everyone come past. So we just got, we'll hopefully make it to the end of this race.
Yeah, we don't know. Have you made any changes for this race? No, where you've basically got what you've got now and you can't upload any more software, is that what you're saying?
We've got what we've got, yeah, because it's a 10-minute job to put a whole new software in, and we don't actually know what it's meant to have.
I'm afraid I can't help you with that one, Ian, so I'm sorry, I'm going to let you go. But good luck in the race, and hopefully the bike feels as good as it did on Thursday evening.
Ian Hutchinson is alongside Erno Costamo on the front row of the grid, one of our international visitors. Arno, you're live on the BBC. How has the event gone for you so far?
Yeah, last races, the Superstock and Superbike races was good me, and I hope so. I podium, I don't know.
A podium is possible, you think?
I don't know. Is the fast guy, is the top guy, is the behind me at the...
But how much have you enjoyed your time here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much indeed. Go well.
Thank you.
I love it. I was hoping that Stephen would burst into finish.
I could have translated if it
It was, Arno did his best there, there's no doubt about it, but it was one of those situations where, mind you, I have as much trouble understanding Dean sometimes as well. So, Dean Harrison then, this is his last chance to get a big bike win this weekend. He has been second so many times, he is going to be disappointed. Now, we talk about his different shift pattern that he goes through as far as the gearbox is concerned. Trevor Nation is watching this from home as well. Trevor's just sent me a message to say, and John Reynolds both road shift as well. Yeah, so James Whittam and John Reynolds both road shift. So anybody feeling left out?
Yeah, I mean, it's not unusual, and of course, the majority of people, obviously, when they get on road bikes when they're young, they get used to that shift pattern, which is obviously...
I hate it, having big feet. I just couldn't get him under the lever. You want to go up. When you're accelerating out of a fast corner, you want to be able to stamp on.
Even more, I had to switch from right to left-hand gear change halfway through my career. I started.
Because you had an old British bike.
Well, I did. Yeah, I guess I did. But also, the Suzuki's all came from the factory right-hand gear shift, because Barry Sheen had right-hand gear shift right the way up till he retired. Never changed.
So all the factory bikes had right-hand
factory bike. Well, they had both, didn't you? If you remember, they had a cross shaft, so you could go either side. So you could put it on either side on the Suzuki's anyway, and the TZ 750s and 500s. So Barry Sheen never ever changed from right hand. But I got my ankle broken pretty badly at Hockenheim when it smashed it to bits, and I had to change pretty much halfway through my career, which was a nightmare. Interesting.
Yeah, switching over is that muscle memory is reflex action, isn't it? It's something that when you see Matteo Passini, perhaps, who has a left-hand braking as well as a clutch on that side, and Robert Dunlop as well had the same situation setup-wise on his 250 here.
Philip,
I find that really difficult.
You use race shift pattern, did you? I mean,
No.
didn't you? You're a road shifter.
I used to be, when I started, I was a race shift, but what happened was, if you remember, like bikes like our 600s and our RC30s used to slip out of gear now and then, change it down, you would have a neutral. So I went back to the road pattern so I could actually keep my foot on it, you know, change
stamp it.
Yeah, so
I've never understood why we need a neutral between second and first.
We don't now.
No, not now with the MotoGP or Moto3 or Moto2. Even Triumph this year, the 765 Triumph has gone to press the button to get it through a neutral below first. So you have to be, you know, first, second, third, fourth, fifth are all sequential without a neutral in between them.
Oh, right, so you had to shift through your career the other way around.
Yeah,
really?
so I started off in the race on a TZ 125 in those days, and I thought I was doing well, and then obviously missing gears, but just said, right, I'll go to road bike, because I've rode road bikes all my life, you know, so it was like, get off road pattern, get onto race pattern, no, go back to road. I was happy with that ever since, you know, but the only time, yes, you know, you have a bit of trouble if you're accelerating and you're trying to change up and you're banked over. You know,
we actually saw pictures, and say Dean Harrison uses that road shift pattern, and you can see him out of Metropole along the long left there, just trying to get his foot under it to shift up.
Yes, well, that is one place in this track, definitely, you know.
So our last race of the day, the feature race, the Northwest 200. They are away on their warm-up lap now, and when they come back round, we will be in for 6 laps of the Merrow Hotel and Spa Northwest 200 Superbike race. Peter Hickman will go from pole. Davey Todd, Dean Harrison across the front row. Competitive or what? Alistair Seeley looking good on the Superstock bike. Will he make it convert over 6 laps? Michael Dunlop is there in the middle of the second row. Ian Hutchison leads off the third row with Erno Castamo and John McGuinness.
Fourth row, Paul Jordan, Mike Brown, Michael Rutter, who we saw going off very, very late for his warm-up lap, Connor Cummins, Nathan Harrison, Josh Brooks, Sam West, David Johnson and Michael Evans.
Michael Sweeney, Jonathan Goetzi, Maurizio Bottalico, excuse me, Maurizio, and Marcus Simpson, James Chalk, Mitch Rees, the New Zealander there, and Almeric Blanc, and Luca Cardardi, and Eddie Ferrer. Let's go back down into pit lane then and join our friends alongside Stephen Watson.
Yes, Lee, Jenny, and the Northwest 200 Superbike record holder, Glenn Irwin, is with us. Who better to give us their assessment of how you think this race could go?
Quite easy. I've just had this conversation, tipped a number of people to win this week, and they've all come in. And the only rider that hasn't come in just yet is Peter Hickman. Maybe perhaps seemed to be weirdly an underdog at the Northwest 200. Maybe it hasn't been his forte. I have a feeling Hickman, you can't look past Davey and how Michael Dunlop rid this morning. If he rides like that, well, he's going to be in Port Coleraine when the others are in Port Stewart.
Hickman has never had a big bike win here.
That is
for you. Oh, sorry, Jenny, I thought it was you. No, he's never had a big bike win here, and it's funny because, you know, Pete's incredible and on a superbike. It's where he has made his name, but maybe the stop-go chicanes, and I think, to be fair to him, he's a big lad. I don't think slipstream is maybe just as good for him. I could be wrong in saying that, but I seen him passing Alistair Seeley in the brakes in the Juniper chicane earlier, and not too many people, maybe me and Lee are one of a few to have actually done that, and it's not an easy task. I am gonna, my feelings saying Hickman. I would love it to be Dunlop, and like we've said before, Davey, Dean, they're all our friends. We just want good racing.
I think he's successfully avoided the question, Stephen.
I think he named the whole field there.
He's going to get a job in politics at this rate.
Lee, who is...
I would like to see Dean Harrison win the race. Not only... And I think everybody in the crowd, in the stands and everything, he is being so close to winning this week. And for the last 5 or 10 years, possibly at the Northwest, especially before he got on the Hondas, he was on Kawasaki's here for quite a few years. And the bike definitely wasn't the fastest bike, super sport or superbike, so I think he's definitely got the material to win this race. And now with the changes they've just made in the superstock race, the bike looks so much more stable. on the run to Coleraine. So have they transferred that over to the Superbike as well?
Alistair Seeley? Jenny?
Possibly, yeah. He said he had a slipping clutch there, didn't he, in the Superstock race, and they fixed that. So who knows? Yeah, it'd be great if he could be in with a shout. Like you're saying with Peter, though, I'd also like to see Peter up there. He needs to get one back, doesn't he? Because like you're saying, it's
2-0 on the team owners right now.
I think with Alistair, you know, he's riding a stock bike, and no matter how you look at it, in many ways the bike can be as good. But when it really gets to the nitty gritty, you're starting to push for them braking markers. You're on stock brakes. That's where the bike starts to make a difference. I think Alistair will hang in there at the beginning, and then when the pace really hots up, but it'd be a huge task for him to win on the stock bike. Like Lee says, you know, I think Dean Harrison is someone that we would all love to win. I don't know how many runner-up positions he has had. The fight he gave Richard Cooper into Juniper Chicane on the last lap was a big lunge. It was committed, and that came from someone who really wants to win. He's maybe perhaps missed that racecraft on last laps before. Although he always tries, just hasn't been in the right place at the right time. And that was a lot of fight we've seen earlier, so maybe now is Dean's time.
But a hat-trick of Superbike wins would be very, very special for Michael Dunlop.
Davey Todd not winning the first one, Stephen? Sorry.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yes, sorry.
Stephen made a check in his ear right now.
Lee, we can get promoted next year.
Sorry,
Stephen,
sorry.
not like you to make a mistake.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
A Superbike double on
Superbike
Saturday
double.
would be amazing for Michael Dunlop. And like I say, he probably starts favourite, do we think?
By far, going off lap times, was he doing 4:17s?
Knocking on the door of the lap record.
That is very, very fast. So to be consistently churning them out, I know he had a car to catch, but he was doing the lap time on his own, and realistically, without the controversy aside, like Glenn said earlier, he had the speed to win that race, and he definitely has the speed to win this one. But Davey had a problem in that race as well, and we don't really know we haven't seen the best version of Peter Hickman yet, so it's pretty much wide open.
I think we can be sure there aren't there. If there's any chicane shenanigans, there's going to be a foot down for sure.
Let's have no more controversy or drama.
No one mentioned chicanes, shortcuts, stop and foot down, whatever.
No, definitely not. Glenn, Jenny, Lee, thank you very much indeed. It's the Northwest 200. It is the biggest and most important race of the day, and we are set for a thrilling finale.
I thought that those guys were down there supposed to make Stephen look good. Just gone and tried tripping him up. That's been thrown under the bus.
I'm not even getting involved in it on this one. I think we'll let them get on with it down there.
But in fairness, Michael, he did win the Super Sport, didn't he?
He did. It is quite a long day when you're down there in the thick of it all day long without any kind of a break for the teams as well. I mean, when you consider they came across from BSB, a lot of these guys, and they floated across the channel, they've flown in, they've driven in, right off the back of Alton Park, and it was a dramatic and traumatising Alton Park that a lot of teams, when they got here, they were already absolutely knackered, and now we're in a situation where we've had a whole week here. There's a lot of PR to be done, there's a lot of events to be done, there's a lot of nighttime events to be covered as well. So a lot of these riders and teams are going to be pretty much extended, I would say, and ready for that boat tomorrow to get the trucks on.
I think they'll be ready for the dinner tonight and a pint, frankly.
Yeah, but then they've got to get home and get out of here. So
when is Donington? 2 weeks?
Yeah. It's a lot of tired people, that's for sure. And it's always the same, isn't it? You build yourself up. The main race of the day is at the hardest time of the day. You've done all that qualifying, all that practice, all that racing, but now the main event, you've got to peak on a Saturday, late in the day, when you're the most tired, the most traumatised perhaps with what's gone on, and worried about whether you've done enough to get the bike set in the right way. And I'm not just talking about the riders, I'm talking about technicians as well. Just all those tweaks. If this man, have Honda relayed those tweaks that they made on the Superstock bike to this Superbike, can they relay those tweaks? Is it possible to make the Superbike as good as that Superstock bike was in the win?
I think they can go in the same direction. It might be a different way of doing it, but whatever they did to the stocker, I think they could...
Well, they made it work in the Superstock bike. It wasn't waggling around in the wind at all, and if that's the case, then Dean Harrison is on for a win in this race. If it handles in the same manner over these 6 laps, then he's not, is the way that I see it. It's pretty plain and simple. This man, Michael Dunlop, he wants to win the feature race, no doubt about it.
His performance was incredible, wasn't it, in the first one?
Well, his motorbike is fast. It's the fastest BMW out there through the speed trap. I know that's not indicative of how it might work in other areas on the racetrack, but clearly it's a quick motorbike that works very well, and it's quite well sorted. Davey Todd has got other areas that he's particularly good in that he might be able to make work. I still feel that the 32 degrees that we've now dropped to track temperature, that favours really the tyres to be just that little bit less likely to be giving up by the time we get to lap 6. So Scott Redding, I'm told, will be holding up the 2-minute board, so I hope we see that. He's a very popular man, Scott Redding. Been a little bit off the pace in the last couple of years, but a superb rider and Grand Prix winner, and a man who should have won the Moto2 Championship a few years ago as well. I thought he was going to at one particular point, so Scott Redding is a hell of a rider. There he is, got his bucket hat on, Scott Redding. I wonder what he's made of it all day long. He was pretty scared when he saw the Super Twins race, but since then he's had a Super Stock and a Superbike race to watch as well.
Carl Ride.
Yeah, Carl Wright was stunned by it all as well. I think the first time, we've kind of got used to it being here, the three of us. Joining me, Keith Ewan, here in the commentary box is Steve Parrish, obviously, and Philip McCallan as well. I mean, we're immune, but newcomers here, their mouths are open.
Well, you know, obviously I lived here and I was watching at the Northwest and stuff, but even the first time I rode here, I remember thinking, you know, this is like a motorway compared to some of our national road races.
Well,
and
that's a good point. Yeah.
Very, very good point. I hadn't considered that.
You know, then the speed of it, like where else in the world can you do? We did actually, one of my years I managed to get 201 mile an hour going towards Coleraine. So we were up, not in the speeds they are today, but it was like, was unbelievable stuff. To get riding at the Northwest 200 was something you watched on TV and you thought, you know, only the Joey Dunlops get there. So to be riding on the same track as Joey Dunlop and in the same race that was enough for me.
It's a bit special.
We spent all our lives being told off to go slow on your motorbike, and then you sit here and someone tells you to go as fast as you can around a road. Yeah,
well, I think I've never had any trouble with either of those, so we probably shouldn't go there. But the Northwest 200 then, the Superbike race, it is the finale, it is the feature race, it is the one that everybody wants to win every single year. This is what you build yourself up to. It is a forerunner, of course, as well, as we go to the TT in a few weeks' time, which is really important. So it's indicative of what we might have on the roads. Okay, we're nearly 9 miles here, 37 3/4 miles as the Isle of Man will be, but most people looking at this will be considering what goes on in the Isle of Man when we get to the TT races. Who's it going to be? Who's your money on, Steve?
I am going to go for Michael Dunlop, and I know that sounds like he's the favourite.
Philip, I know you've already said, but repeat.
I was going to go for Dunlop as well.
Well, that's okay. You can have Dunlop as well. I'm gonna have my fingers crossed and a wish for Dean Harrison.
Yeah, it's good fair.
I said right at the very beginning, if they've managed to sort that bike out, if it's a bit more stable, I think Dean Harrison, certain sectors, he is particularly fast in.
I think
here we go then. Watch the lights. Scott Redding holds his hand up, points to the lights. Who's it going to be that makes the whole shot from here? It's going to be a fast one. I'm sure Davey Todd on the middle of the grid is usually the quickest man, but look at that one from Hickman. Hickman has made the whole shot. Hickman turns it in front of his teammate. So Hickman, for the first time, has made that break. Seeley's there as well. Keep an eye on the 34 of Alistair Seeley's Superstock.
Michael Dunlop is back there about 10th place, I think.
Yeah, he didn't make the start at all. He got himself mired right in there. So Michael Dunlop, as we blast into the braking area, watch to see if there's any mistakes here. And we've seen them so many times at York. No, the front boys are all through there nice and neat and tidy. Up towards Mill Road roundabout we go now. Great start from Peter Hickman.
That's the first time Todd's been beaten all day long.
Yeah, and who was it who had some money on Peter Hickman down there? I seem to remember. The prediction was Peter Hickman. Glenn Irwin, exactly. He's been getting it right all day long. Glenn maybe ought to go and sit out of the Bet McLean chicane and put a few more monies on it.
Yeah, I think Peter, look at him go, you know, he's had some bad luck, he's had things go wrong, so...
Hang on, though, Todd's done him.
So, he must have been
going into the bottom corner.
He must have been.
Seeley's going into second.
Yeah, that was, so Peter Hickman was beaten up there, must have been at York Road. We didn't quite see where he was passed by his teammate, Davey Todd, but Davey Todd is definitely in front. Well, I won't say it's a shame. Here comes Seeley. Seeley goes to the front. Seeley is looking, no, he hasn't. There we are, up the front there. We've been looking at the wrong one. That is Hickman out front.
Wow, what a start that was. You're right.
That's Davey Todd.
No, it's Davey Todd out front. It is. Wow. Yeah. How did he do that?
Davey.
It's going to take some working out.
You know, he's a confident, good rider. He's not afraid to
Oh,
lead.
hang on, Hickman's got his foot out.
He's got a problem.
Hickman has got a problem. He's got his leg out, so Hickman is out of the race at University on the opening lap. Well, that is a disaster for the 810 Racing Team machine. He got a great start down into York. We didn't see how or what the circumstances were for the 74 bike, Davey Todd, his teammate, to pass him, but now Todd is on his way. So we'll blame Glenn Irwin for making the prediction.
Peter Hickman's just not had it this week.
No, it's not had a good day. Not a good day today, that is for certain. This is the one that you want to win. Davey Todd is off the front. Will he be able to make a break here? They reckon that the Metzler switches on really quickly as far as grip is concerned on the opening lap, whereas the Dunlop might take a little longer to come to him.
Get it stopped.
No problem.
No, he's accelerating good and he's braking good, obviously, as well. So there's Michael coming through now. He needs to get tucked in now, get some speed.
That'll hurt across there as well. Somebody taking to the grass at the chicane. Dean Harrison's the man you've got to watch for, though. He's got to close in at the front if he can.
Dunlop was 5th through the speed trap, 200 miles an hour. 200, McGuinness was fast through the speed trap as well.
Which
not
kind
only
of
they're getting pushed on, obviously, down at Metro.
Oh, that's properly in the field.
Oh, that's
62, that is.
Well, I can tell you exactly.
Yeah, that's, it's Bottilaca.
The Italian. Well, he's gone farming. He wouldn't want to be doing that with an expensive motorcycle.
I don't know where he could get into that field.
Yeah, I don't know how he could have done it. Anyway, Davey Todd down at Metropole for the first time. Dean Harrison is in second place on bike number 3. And then it is the SMS machine of Alistair Seeley. There's John McGuinness going through. And followed by his old 53-year-old mate, Michael Rutter. So McGuinness and Rutter, the two 53-year-olds, they're always joined at the hip, those two, fighting for a position.
Yeah, either at the front of the grid or the back.
There'll be a bet on it somewhere.
The thing is, when we saw what Michael did in the first race, this isn't anything like the distance he had to make up.
That is not a bad point, Steve. Let's see if he manages to do it again.
Let's not forget that, you know, Davey Todd reckoned his bike went off, and that that helped it close in. But we can see there's Michael coming through already. There's us
gone past Hutchie. Yeah. That was Hutchinson on bike number 12. That's Seeley we're looking at on the SMS Nickel Oils machine.
No, I don't think it'll be many minutes or miles before Michael Dunlop's through him as well.
Look at that bike there.
It's a Superstock bike that he's got to pass next. This is a full-blown factory BMW and a well-sorted one as well, as it turns out. So Michael Dunlop on bike number 6. That's the opening lap of 6. A long way to go yet in this. Todd is through. Harrison is through. Seeley is through. Dunlop has come through in 4th place now. John McGuinness is up in the 5th place. John McGuinness from Michael Rutter. Then it's Josh Brooks. Josh Brooks looking lively as well in the opening stages here. Ian Hutchinson, I forgot about him. He was up in 5th place as well. So
Michael Dunlop, though, he's just see from his body language, he's all over the bike. He's pushing very, very hard. He can virtually see the guys in front of him now. Very tardy start from him, though, wasn't it?
Well, maybe he's doing a Barry Sheen. You'll remember that. He used to get tardy starts, come through and make himself the hero of the day.
I tell you what, look at the acceleration of Davey Todd. He's definitely getting that bike out of the corners.
Every time. I don't understand where he's finding that extra out of the corners, out of York and then out of the...
I tell you what, the Honda definitely looks much more stable now than it did in the first Superbike race.
But he's not in the slipstream yet. It was when it was getting in that really messy air that it was shaking its head all the way down to University. I think you're right, but it will be interesting when it gets tangled up with the bike in front, if it gets tangled up with the bike in front. Seeley's having, I mean, on a super stocker, that's a good ride from Alistair Seeley again. I mean, it just goes to show the wee wizard knows what he's doing around this racetrack.
You know, he can handle that super stock bike, he can pull it around, and he's just the right size to get tucked in for the long straights. And look, Dean Harrison is closing in, I believe.
Yeah. Michael Dunlop's passed Seeley down the straight there, Slipstream City. He's up there, so he's now 3rd on the road, Michael Dunlop.
Yeah, a super stock versus a Superbike as well sorted as Dunlop's isn't going to be a competition, really, is it? Seeley might enjoy it at the moment, plus the fact we expect brakes to go off a little bit later on in the race on a super stocker. They're just not quite as good as the full factory Superbike brakes that's allowed in this category. 203 miles an hour for Rutter through the speed trap there, so we're building on speed.
I think what we need here, what will happen, Michael is going to catch up with Dean Harrison. He's going to catch up with Harrison, and then what I think and hope will happen, he'll pull Harrison back onto the back wheel of Davy Todd. So what we'll have is hopefully 3 bikes for a little period together. I'm sure Michael will soon pull out after that, but if he has pulled Dean Harrison back onto the back of Davy Todd, it'll make for good racing for second place.
We're down to 8/10 last time through the speed trap, and the sector time of Todd versus Harrison. Seeley is just a little bit further back, or was, but we know that Dunlop has now slid through into third place. Seeley dropping behind him by a couple of tenths. At the Macroboy chicane, and then it's the big flat-out blast down to Metropole. Here's John McGuinness holding up Josh Brooks.
Tell you what, Seeley has used the slipstream of Michael to carry him up as well.
Yeah, he will do. Yeah, if he can stay with him on the coast road, it's going to work for him.
Harrison has closed it down Todd.
And look at Seeley. Michael hasn't pulled that much from him. Look,
a nice wide line.
The black line leaving there. He's trying.
He's not shy, is he?
No, he's a good rider.
That's a fact. It's a bit of an understatement.
Yeah.
But it's good to see him back at this kind of competition as well.
This will maybe help him get a bike or get some help for the rest of the year.
Really hope so, because I think Seeley is a man that we need on the roads.
Yeah.
Up onto the coast then. Sun has just gone down a little bit. Sorry, Phil.
Dean Harrison is riding very, very good on that coast road.
He's looked sharp. The Hondas look good.
And definitely that bike is much more stable than it was before.
Yeah, well, they managed to sort out the super stock bike, which I know is slightly different in lots of ways, but they must, whatever direction they found, they've transferred it, I think, onto the number 3 Superbike we're looking at here from Dean Harrison.
Harrison could do with making a break here, getting past Todd before Dunlop gets into play. He needs to get in front of Todd and get himself up the road, because Michael Dunlop, once he sniffs that win, he's going to be right on the case. End of the second lap then. We start the third lap now.
That should be a fast lap from Harrison.
It is 4:17.348. That's 125.480 from Michael Dunlop, who has put the fastest time in. They're all in the 124s. And then you get back to Hutchinson, who's in the 122. So the top 4 men top the time sheets.
Yeah, Dunlop the fastest. So he's pretty much equalled what he did in the first race. Michael Dunlop has now 4:17.
He's closing in
Glenn
there.
Irwin's lap record still sits there at 4:16.3737. He'll be hoping he goes away with that, I'm sure.
The 2 front men are way down on top end compared with Dunlop. Dunlop is in the 203s, and they've...
I suspect, though, he used Seeley for that.
Indeed, got a slipstream off of him and pulled himself down towards University. He's closing on these, and he's got plenty of time to do it. The other thing is not to get too excited and use up too much tyre. Dunlop is on Dunlops, and the last thing he wants to do is spin his tyres up and end up with a bike that hasn't got any boots underneath.
I think, to be honest, he probably rode harder to come through in the first race with those overshoots and slip road stuff. So
that's my point.
So I think the tyre will be getting a little bit easier closing in these boys.
But he only needs to close bit by bit. He doesn't need to take great big handfuls of tyre out of it, really. Look at those 2 at the front now, side by side into the slipstream. In that narrow run down towards University, they really are beside each other. Who's going to be the best on the brakes? My bet's on Dean Harrison.
That Honda is definitely, it's not down on speed, is it, compared to the BMW?
No, and it's not waggling all the way down there like it was when it was next to a BMW before. Harrison gets to the front then. So Dean Harrison, he needed to do that. He needs to be away from Davy Todd. If Davy Todd has got a problem, and it is slightly below par, Dean Harrison needs to get his head down now and get some momentum before Michael Dunlop catches him. Dunlop in third place. We're looking at them from the helicopter.
You know what? Dean's pulled away. His bike's going good.
He's good on the brakes, but the worst thing that can happen here is that, for Dean Harrison, is that Todd gets a slipstream and then mires him in the braking area, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
You see the slipstream effect there for the BMW.
And all the time, Michael Dunlop will be closing in.
Well, you can see visibly now, can't you? But you're right, even this time around, his bike is fast, nearly 10 miles an hour faster than anybody else. Michael Dunlop, number 6 I'm talking about. Bikes come from Sean Muir, I think, from the Rocket team. It's a proper factory-built bike, and it's paying dividends.
Alistair Seeley still in 4th place, John McGuinness 5th, and then Josh Brooks is in 6th place, still on the number 7 machine. Ono Costamo is there in 7th place. Michael Rutter has dropped to 8th behind him.
So there's a switch there.
Yeah, look at that, but Michael's right on the back wheel.
Yeah, now we go.
Of course he is.
That's his style, isn't it? He's going to do it his own way, wait for the ideal time, into the braking area at Metropole. Davey Todd tips in first. Harrison is now under pressure from that man, Michael Dunlop. Everybody's on their feet. Oh, drives underneath him. That's just how much extra he's got. That's down to the rider himself. He just turned it left and gave it a big squirt. Dunlop has gone into second place.
Harrison had a big slide.
But left the gap. Dunlop squirted underneath him. Harrison may have left the slide, but Dunlop is putting the pressure on.
And he's going to be slipping into the last chicane. He'll be leading towards the end of the straight. He'll just slip past, maybe even on the outside.
Yeah, well, he looked round the outside before, and he's just got the performance of that BMW. Drives round him. Michael Dunlop hits the front, but straight snapping back, and that's what you've got to do when you've got a man on a fast bike, is not let him get away. And Davey Todd snaps straight back at him. And, and a little bit of a slip there from Michael Dunlop as well as he squirted the throttle. Just let go a little bit of the rear end. But Michael's going to have a go at him now. Surely not before the start and finish line. I thought that was going to be a Juniper pass, and you don't see many of them. They're a bit of a collector's model. Through the start and finish line then.
What this has done is brought Dean right back onto the back wheel.
So, third lap. They're on their fourth lap now. That was the end of 3 laps. Now we're getting to the business end of this.
Seeley's still hanging in there. He's doing well on a super stock bike.
I think Seeley, if he was on a superbike, would be a competitor. Brooks and McGuinness are still 5th and 6th. Brooks now up to 5th place.
We've got to give them credit. Whatever they've done to that Honda, they've definitely helped it a lot. And it's great to get it here before he gets to the Isle of Man, because, you know, if your bike's well sorted before you get there, you mean you're practicing from the word go, not struggling with machinery.
Yeah, Honda have done a good job here, haven't they? And got him back, and the Superstock and Superbikes have now, handling-wise, have got it back in the zone.
But I tell you what, if we class the Northwest as a weak track for Michael Dunlop, and he's going like that here, what's he not going to do when he gets to the Isle of Man?
Definitely laid the gloves down.
Well, he looked really dramatic from the moment we saw him out on the track right at the very beginning in practice as he goes to the front again. So Michael Dunlop, before we get to station corner, manages to slip by for the lead.
Now we're going to get an indication.
Yes,
can they stay in the slipstream?
Let's see whether they can stay in the slipstream. They can. Here we go then.
When you see the Honda maybe pulling out.
He's got 2 bikes to pull him along, but I don't think he's going to make the distance. That BMW looks so quick up front. Dunlop's BMW just stays out
They're
front.
getting a tow, but not much of one. As soon as they pull out, they can't do anything about it, can they?
So down towards University then. Dunlop leads, and he's holding it this time. Is Harrison going to get under Todd? No, he's not. Todd stays in 2nd place.
I tell you what, they have to brake hard to try and get back onto the back wheel of Michael.
Trouble is, when you're trying to pinch that inch nowadays, overly braking, that's when mistakes come, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's Seeley still there. Look, he hasn't dropped off.
I think Seeley has done brilliantly well on a motorbike that obviously isn't a par with the 3 in front of him.
Michael's split now. I think he's just gone. But he's pulling up there. They can't get in the slipstream of that bike.
Now, the worry was that Todd might be close enough to do what he did last time around, which was slip under him on the brakes, but I don't think that's going to happen from that distance, Steve. You're absolutely
Oh, look, that Dunlop's out. Dunlop's out.
Has he gone pop?
No, something's happened. He's out. His
Something's
legs
definitely
out.
happened to it. So, Todd goes back to the front. Harrison now has another chance to win a race, which perhaps we weren't expecting. So, Michael Dunlop is out for whatever reason. He has gone through the chicane. He won't be worrying about putting his foot down. He's put both feet down now.
What's happened? Is it tyres? Something must have started vibrating
Yeah, I
badly.
think we can tell by the
no smoke or anything.
The nod of the head means a certain 4-letter word.
Yeah, it does.
Several times over. So that motorbike
He's looking for
done.
Neutral there.
Back at the front, there is Seeley coming through. So Seeley,
That's Seeley onto the rostrum now.
second place, the 3rd place for Seeley at the moment. So Todd leads from Harrison, from Seeley. Now then, Dean Harrison, work this out. I've got no axe to grind between these two at all. I don't care who wins, but I really have sympathy for Dean Harrison. He has been second so many times. Well, having said that, so had Todd up until this week.
Yes.
So let's spread out the good joy. And Dean Harrison now surely knows that he's back within a chance, and he doesn't have to look over his shoulder and worry about protecting that line. He's got nobody that's going to interfere with him. Seeley really is
Like,
quick.
look on the brakes. He's
Here
good.
he's very good, but
That's
Todd
up over
is-
Black's Hill.
Todd is as well, though. Todd is very, very good. This next sector, when he comes through to the chicane, Seeley, let's see if he can close down, if Harrison can close down Todd as we come into the braking area here.
Look, Seeley's not that far behind.
No, one or two more mistakes and Seeley could be a winner and taking his 30th win at the Northwest. In the feature race, that would be something spectacular and special.
I tell you what, those both boys are driving hard. Look at the back ends trying to break away there.
Plenty of dark lines going down through the Juniper corner before we get to start the 5th lap.
There's they both carry corner speed in a different way. You know, it opens up and then it closes down again. And
different bike characteristics, different kind of aerodynamics as well that make the changes, make the difference to both of them. Different
Seeley was
styles.
faster on that last lap.
Well, Seeley not done and dusted, but you've got to say that against a proper superbike, is he really realistically in with a chance unless there's a big
truthfully, no.
mistake?
I think the brakes will be a bigger issue probably than the engine.
Agreed. At York.
look at that. I tell you what, boys, he's not.
Well, that's where Harrison on the brakes is very good, but again, I keep saying it, so is Todd.
You see, out of those certain corners, Todd just pulls at those few bike lengths on the BMW. But look now, then Dean's hard on the brakes. He's back in again. Look at that.
Yeah, but watch Todd here. Again, it launches off the corner. Look at the way it just drives off the corner.
I think against the Honda, it's seriously about those front wings. He can put more power down it without it lifting up. It's got that
holding down
kilograms
on the
right
floor.
over the front there, and that's what it's designed for.
Looking back up the road as we get to Station Corner. Todd hits it first. Dean Harrison next up in second place on bike number 3. Alistair Seeley still a long way ahead of Ian Hutchinson back in 4th place. Josh Brooks still 5th.
Like,
John McGuinness still 6th.
The Honda just pulls back at the end of the straight. Do you see that?
And it looks stable. That was not the motorbike of Thursday.
They'll be well happy when they're watching that.
They will be, that's for sure. It's still a little lively looking down on it, but nothing like you had the other day through practice. It was a frightening looking animal. Down at University, hitting your marks onto the link road, new tarmac all the way over to the Ballysally roundabout. Alistair Seeley still there, 2.5 seconds off the front 2 riders.
Which is very good.
Oh, say that again, I think that's an undersale there, Philip. Hutchinson still in 4th place, Brooks still in 5th place. If you've just tuned in, Michael Dunlop is out. Broken down at the chicane.
If you were in Seeley's team, you'd be very happy with what you're getting.
Yeah, I agree completely. There was something weird about that. It wasn't the engine on Michael's, was it? He was looking down at the wheels.
Yeah, it was something.
I just wonder if there's something
I thought he was
happened.
looking down at the gear shifter down that side of it, but again, we're speculating. We will find out. Still Todd. Question, is Dean Harrison sitting there relaxed on the 5th lap of 6?
No,
I think he's scrabbling to stay there, frankly, because I was surprised he didn't get past down the straight towards University. The BMW seems to be just putting the power down well, but still Kyle Ride there, Glenn Irwin, Scott Reddy. It's like World Superbikes.
And that
I
little
tell you
short
what,
fellow in the
look at-
barrier as well.
Look at Seeley, he's closed in a little bit. He's down to 2 seconds now.
Yeah, he's not 4/10 off in this last sector.
But I think, you know, there's Davey just made enough ground here to get away.
He likes coming down the left-hand side of the road there before moving over to the right to move into Metropole Corner here. A little bit of afterburner going on there. As, Dean Harrison looks smooth. He doesn't look out of control anywhere either. He looks comfortable in second place.
I can't really figure out what's wrong because, look, and that's straight really from, you know, coming back from the magic roundabout, you know, Davy Todd, like, look, he's pulling distance that he wasn't pulling before, but it seems to be, you would think the Honda's going a little bit slower, and he's got to make it all, Dean's got to make it all up on the brakes then. Look, you know, whereas before he was definitely much closer to the back
Yeah,
of that
I
bike.
agree. I think Todd's just giving it everything at the moment, just seeing if he can drop Dean Harrison off.
Coming to the end of the 5th lap then, Todd leads from Dean Harrison. Nice and neat through there, hitting his marks. Davy Todd has got it pretty well covered. Dean Harrison doesn't look too troubled in second place either. Whether he's got anything left in the locker when we come to the last 9 miles of this
starting the last lap.
200. Here we come, dropping down to the flag. It'll say last lap time. There it is. Now then, Dean Harrison, what have you got? He's closed right in on Todd, but we know how quick that bike is coming out of the York hairpin and up through the Mill Road roundabout. Still Seeley, a long way back now, 3.4 seconds back from Harrison in third place. Hutchinson has still yet to cross the line. That's how far Hutchie is back in fourth place.
All right, well, now we're going to find out if Dino had got anything up his sleeve.
Here's Hutchie, and he is in fourth place. It's a good, lonely ride from him. Another great ride from Hutchinson. He's back.
To get a third and a fourth is definitely very, very good.
But it's about Davy Todd. One mistake, that's all it takes when somebody is this close on your tail. One mistake, and Dean Harrison will be there. I don't think there is any other chance, unless Todd makes a mistake. I don't think Dean Harrison has got it quite the combination to beat Davy Todd.
You know, you would just feel he's lost a little bit of speed there somewhere in that mid part of the race.
Look at that thing scream through Station Corner.
It's remarkable how they hold together, isn't it, when you think what they're trying to do. And tyres as well. I'm surprised that no one seems to be having any real issues at the moment. Let's have a look. Dean Harrison closing.
I'll tell you what, that Honda is not short of horsepower top end, is it? Maybe they've got it geared just that bit better along the straight here. But Todd, conversely, has got it geared so it gets out of the slower speed corners. So then, Todd still manages to hold on at University, but Dean Harrison is right to his shoulder now. Harrison will be desperate to try and make a pass.
You can see how late he's breaking into that corner. He's just, that front wheel's
squirming.
About to break away if he squeezes the lever anymore.
He's going to fool me if he's been sandbagging. I hope he is, because like you, I'd like to see him take a win.
Look at him, closing it down. But you watch this thing leap away now. The BMW just jumps out the slower speed corners. Can Dean Harrison get close enough to pick up a little bit of a toe? He doesn't look close enough to me, even though high-speed toe here.
Red flag.
We've got a red flag. Oh, we've got a red flag. That will be the race result then. It will be Davy Todd winning another big bike race here. He won nothing in the big bike class until this year. That will be called a race. The red flag has come out for an incident somewhere in the track, but because we were halfway around the 6th and final lap, that will be a result. They won't restart this. Davy Todd will win from Dean Harrison, and that really has, destroyed any hopes we had of Dean Harrison getting with him and fighting on this last lap.
No, and no one will know, no matter what anyone says. We're not really going to know if he did have anything up his sleeve. To me, in my count there, Todd comes away from here with 99 northwest winds.
Well, that, I must
what a
say,
week he's
folks,
had.
is a slightly, apart from Davy Todd, disappointing end to what was building to be quite an exciting finale, because I just felt Dean Harrison had closed in on that last lap. Whether he got enough in him to make the pass,
Seeley will be a happy man, won't he?
Yeah,
Alistair Seeley on that super stock machine there, couldn't do any more.
No.
It's a shame he had that clutch issue in the super stock race, because that would have been the one for him.
Yeah, look at the distance back to third, to fourth.
Hutchinson,
Brooks, McGuinness 6. He'll be pleased with that. John McGuinness in 6.
Rutter in 8th place, so he's beaten his old mate. Connor Cummins 9th. Looking down through the order. Well, that's pretty much all she wrote. A fantastic event this has been for so many reasons, but it's kind of whetted our appetite for next year. What might have been.
And for the TT.
Indeed. Honda are going to be very happy with that result, if only for the fact they've got their motorbike pointing in a straight line around BMWs.
Yeah, I think them all,
they're being pulled off here at Metropole, of course. Whatever the incident is, it's up on the coast road. So they're
going to see Davy Todd on a skateboard again.
Again, like he did a couple of years ago. Yeah, drinking a pint and on a skateboard. It was pretty impressive.
No, I think the 8-10 team will be very, very happy. Their first road race, to be picking up the wins and double rostrums for the team, and their bikes will be they're not going to be perfect, but they're going to be well sorted now before the TT.
Tyres look good then as well, looking at
very good,
and that will be good for the TT. I think that was a worry, a concern.
And TT's much easier. Like you say, Jason Griffiths told us it's not that this is the place that gives them all the issues.
I like a bit of sportsmanship, and these two showing to the fans there down at Metropole. But again, Dean Harrison must return if he wants to win a big bike race around the Northwest 200 course.
Well, this is the closest he's been in the last few years. This is the closest he's got to that win.
Whenever were you happy at close? Never. Let me
it was
tell
okay
you.
as long as somebody was close behind me.
Yeah. Close behind is fine. Close to the win was not.
No, but like he had, put it this way, he's got competitive bikes this year. Last year his Hondas didn't even count. In the years before on his Kawasaki, they were just not, Kawasaki's this last, 2 and 3 years when he was riding them was not the bike to win on.
No. Glass half full then, Philip, is where you're at.
Yeah.
Let's go down to the pit lane then and rejoin Stephen Watson.
Yes, I've got Lee Johnson and Jenny Timworth with me. A disappointing end to that race, red flag, but our thoughts obviously with the rider that's been injured there.
Yeah, obviously it was fighting up to be a nail biter right at the end there. Dean was looking really strong in behind Davy Todd, but yeah, unfortunately, first things first, let's hope the rider in the crash is okay and as well as can be, and they're getting sorted now.
Great sportsmanship between the two when they're stopped out in the circuit there.
Yeah, absolutely. They're great friends, aren't they? And it's great to see them stopping there and waving to the crowd and hugging each other. And yeah, they're just brilliant sportsmen. Yeah, shame in that race to lose Dunlop and Peter as well. But like you say, it was going to come down to those two at the end. And yeah, just a shame we've missed out on that. But like you say, hopefully the rider involved in the accident's okay.
That's a 5th podium of this event for Dean Harrison, and he was closing, wasn't he?
Yeah, they made some big changes to that Honda in the first Superstock race, and we've seen the bike a lot more stable, and then they've also done that to the Superbike. So it bodes well for Dean's TT. He's looking really, really sharp, and yeah, it's a shame that he couldn't get the win. We don't know where that would have went down to the wire, but Davy Todd had led every lap up to that point, so he was the deserved winner on the lap if it was cancelled on.
Yeah, and a Superbike double, and he wins the big one, the Northwest 200, Jenny, and deservedly so.
Yeah, absolutely. After last year, that's what he wanted, wasn't it? He wanted a Superbike win. He's now got 2, and yeah, congratulations to Davy. Fantastic job.
So we might have to wait a little while before the bikes come around here to the winners' enclosure, just because of the incident out on the circuit. But it'll be nice for Alistair Seeley to be back in here. I think that's a 44th career podium at the Northwest 200.
That's incredible. And even then, if that tallies up to 29 wins and 40, that's a crazy win ratio as well as podium ratio for Alistair. And it's really good to see him back on the podium. He had a terrible luck on Thursday night with the bike blowing up in the first Superbike race. And then obviously he didn't get the chance to ride the bike in the actual Superstock race that it's eligible for as well. So yeah, credit to Alistair and the whole Nicola Oils team coming here and putting a show on again after missing last year.
Yeah, missing last year, and will have been frustrated up to the last race of the day. So it's nice to see the record holder back in here.
Yeah, it's nice to see him end on a positive, isn't it? And hopefully he'll be back again on that bike next year. So it's excellent for him. I'm sure he's feeling quite happy with that.
Yeah, we'll find out a little later when they get here. Jenny Lee, thank you. Back up to you for now.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, yeah, like you say, it did suck a little bit of the fun out of that. Who knows if Dean Harrison had a little bit up his sleeve? We'll never find out right now. But disappointing for Michael Dunlop, obviously. I don't know what went on there. And for Hutchie, for that matter, who went out lap 1.
Peter Hickman.
Yeah, sorry, I meant Peter Hickman. Yeah, you're right, at the end of the straight
Hutchie was there.
Yeah, I meant Peter Hickman, I beg your pardon, at the end of the first lap, or halfway round the first lap.
So disappointment perhaps, final race of the day, but with fingers crossed and hopefully the rider that has caused the stoppage is perfectly okay. It's been a good week.
Just the races up today have turned out very strange, haven't they? You know, it's like just like, how could you believe that the two boys fighting for the super twin race was going to come off?
No.
You know, I didn't see what happened. Did someone touch the other one? Or?
Yeah, I mean it was.
I thought. I wasn't sure if they touched before the crash.
One felt well, and they were.
I think Adam McLean lost it on the clipping a curb, and then
clouted.
Well, and Richard was trying to get past, and it clipped him.
Yeah, exactly that. So they just got tangled at the end of the day. I mean, one fell and took the other one out. I think for me, the 4-lap format on a Thursday, that Thursday evening has been brilliant. The extra entertainment that we've had here in the big marquee around here. The family days, the school kids here on Friday.
And the beach race on Friday as well.
It's absolutely made it. It's been a fantastic event this year, and the weather, of course, just enhances it. You can see John McGuinness down there at the moment with Davey Todd. It's been, and Ian Hutchinson as well. So let's go down.